I don't know, that beat made me want to freestyle.
Not freestyle.
What's up, everybody? Your friends are back for another episode of Mothering Together. This is an original podcast series, part of our maternal outreach movement, and this is in partnership with Birthing Beautiful Communities. What are we talking about today, Bijou?
All right. Today we are talking about the importance of a concept of the village. We've heard it before. It is an old African proverb. It takes a village to raise a child.
Right.
And we want to talk about why every mom needs that village, that support system, and that community to really effectively parent.
Right.
All right. So I just paused like I wanted you to say something. Okay. So all right. So, okay, guys. So we're going to get into this. All right. So let's start with the family. All right. Now, whether it's with your partner, whether it's with your parents, your siblings, your family members really help to provide a real system of emotional support for you. And I'm sorry for the sounds you might hear because my computer is clearly dinging. But this is why I love that this is live and this is real, guys. Okay. So, but we would just want to talk about like all the I guess you would call the parts of the community that you have that really help, that literally shape, your ecosystem when you are raising your children and when you have your family, right? And family is not always people who are, like I said, who are born to your parents. Family can be friends. Family are associates, people who you have created your village. You can create your own village. And a lot of times those are some of the best people to have, the people that you get to choose, right? Who you feel like can have the best and strongest impact on your life and also your children's life. So one of those things I think that helps is to have somebody to just talk to like vent to when you're feeling overwhelmed and overstimulated as a mother. I think like having two little ones, 22 months apart, I'm literally dealing with children who are like on 10 day in and day out.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, I need help. And it's, it's when you're talking to someone who's been through it, they totally understand. And so
Yeah.
just having someone that can say to you, it gets better. It's okay. It gets better. They get older and they calm down, and their ability to regulate their emotions gets better eventually. So it's just good to have that kind of a person to lean on to let you know, like when you're thinking it's like a wrap, you can't take anymore, be all right. You'll be all
Yeah.
right. You can like keep pushing through. So I think that's one of the main things about having that support system is somebody to just call when you got to talk.
Yeah. And, let them be real with you. I know a lot of times I've heard, especially mothers say, dang, nobody told me about this and nobody prepared me for this
Yeah.
situation. So having those conversations with people who can relate to what you're going through is definitely helpful. I wanted to double back on just the family village in general and just not being afraid to ask for help. I feel like a lot of times, especially as moms, we empower ourselves with, you know what, I got this, I can do this, I don't need nobody.
Mhm.
Whether you are a single mother or you're in a relationship or marriage, whatever that looks like for you, don't ever be afraid to ask for help because that burnout is real and the children tend to see it and it impacts more than you know. So when you do have family, if you have sisters, brothers, your parents, cousins, when we are just speaking about family, whatever that looks like to
Mhm.
you, just every once in a while, hey, can you help me? Like, even if it's a
Yes.
situation where it's like, okay, yes, babysitting or having a conversation, maybe you don't know how to handle something. So you call your mom or you call your grandmother, or you call somebody, but don't be afraid to ask for help because
That's key.
usually it's
That's key.
there. But if they don't know you need some guidance, some help, some whatever, you literally sitting there stressing yourself out, taking on all this weight on top of whatever you got going on, if it's work, if it's whatever. So yeah, just utilize your family as best you can. And I do realize that there are some people who don't have family as a support.
Very true. Very
And then we can further go into what that looks like if you don't have family. But if you do, take advantage of the fact that that's your mama and call her. Like, listen, I just need a me day. Me and
true.
my man on a date. Like, I need to get some work done.
So
Could you
true.
please, and then
So
create boundaries
true.
too, because of course you don't want to take advantage of your village. You
Yeah.
want to have some balance. So whatever that looks like, just be open to having those conversations and create that system, that support system for you that will help you
Yeah.
with whatever you got to do.
And with that, I think it's very important to set your boundaries though, when you're like, having family and people who are chosen family to support you and, help you with the kids. So everybody knows, what to expect, right? So it's kind of like, I know we have these back and forths and talks all the time in the studio, me, Kenny, and Sam, you know, if this one can discipline your child or if that one can discipline your child. And,
Yeah.
has different rules that they want. Certain people, you're like, no, nobody can discipline my child but me, right? So these are boundaries and expectations that you lay out up front beforehand, so there's no surprises anywhere. So if you have a child that does not like to listen, you might want, okay, to one, think about who you sending that child to if you have a
Right.
person who wants discipline, or two, like I say, just set it out like, just call me if something goes wrong, I'll handle it. But these are things I think that help when you are reaching out to the village so that everybody knows. Like me, I'm the parent with the dietary restrictions for my kids, so if they know, here she come with all her, yes, I packed the lunch is packed, everything is here as the snacks, I don't want nothing non-organic, I'm that mama. They call it, I'm like a semi crunchy mama. So it's like, they know though. But so it's
Yeah.
understood. I
Because
won't
you
make
put that up front.
I will bring it. You don't have to spend your money. Don't worry. And
Yeah.
everybody is good. I think those are the things that make it like a seamless transition where you have your own, your own way you do things in your household. When you include others, make sure they all know what's going on. So there's no surprise.
Yeah. And just be transparent because I'm in a situation where my son's grandparents on his father's side, girl, he run it over there. Okay, so it's like forget what
Uh-huh.
mommy and daddy say when he's at their house. It's like he could do whatever he want. Like that's my grandbaby. He could do this, and I'd be like, no. Like listen, when he gets off that school bus, I need y'all to be in his homework. He don't get to go outside or like because I mean, you know how grandparents are.
That's
Like
right.
they just want to love on their grandbabies
Yeah.
or whatever, and it's like they can do no wrong, but you really have to set those boundaries so there's consistency because
Yeah.
Kingston to come home and think he could just do whatever he want because at grandma house, no. So I be having to call. I call her little lady. I'd be like, little lady, listen, love you to death. But when Kingston get off that bus, I need him in that book. And she's really good about it. It's really my father-in-law who be tripping. He just Kingston can do
He
whatever
can
he
do
wants.
whatever he wants.
Whatever he want. I come over there sometimes. It ain't no telling what I'm gonna see Kingston doing. But and I know that's their love and how they love on him. But just having those conversations, and whenever I do have to remind them, like, yo, don't let him do this or let him do this, whatever the case may be, they are pretty much, you know,
Right.
enjoying with me. But you do have to set them reminders sometimes, like I thought we talked about.
Yes. And I think that right there, grandparenting and parenting are night and day. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, that's one of the things you got to do. You got to put them boundaries out there because I know my child right now. She's still trying to differentiate. I'm like, this is not Nana's house. Okay. But anyway,
For real. So yeah, set them boundaries. Set
yeah,
them boundaries with your village. Now you said earlier, because everybody's village looks a little different. Maybe you don't have siblings. Maybe your parents are no longer here. So now your village is your friends, your network. And of course that can be your village too. I have friends that call my child, their nephew, and they're not blood, but that's how they love on my child. So um same thing with your friends, I would say to like your family, but maybe not so. I mean, family is obviously tighter. It's a little bit of a different, but dynamic rather. But just using your friends for that support. I know a lot of times it can come in the form of just conversation, like venting. You know what I mean? Like you gonna call them like, girl, this child done did this, and I'm over here pulling my hair out. And if they can relate to that, they can be a
right.
support to that,
Yeah.
give you some insight or whatever. But if your friends are also like a big part in your child's life because maybe they are super close with your kids and they are babysitting your kids, and I feel like it is the same kind of procedure, so to speak, with them, with your family network. And that is, again, having the balance, having the boundaries, having those conversations. So yeah.
I know, like with my friends and my kids, like they think that those are their friends, and like, oh, where is she at? I'm like, what do you mean? Where is she at? So it's to the point my friends don't even call. Like when I pick up the phone, it's like, oh, where's Reverend? Where's the kids? I'm like, excuse me. call to talk to me. So that's how my friends are. Like they're like with the kids, like they are like this, you know. So it's interesting. It's like I don't necessarily, you know, they come over to play with the kids. Okay. Like I don't necessarily have them, you know, to watch the kids on a but you know, but like they come over to kick it with my
Yeah.
kids. Okay. And I'm
Yeah.
like, come kick it with me, but they want to play with the kids. So it's like that type of relationship. So that also is really good too when they have other, you know, adults who they love and who they can talk to, because I think, you know, down the line that creates another avenue for them to communicate maybe some things they may not be able to communicate to us as the parents. You know how that happens
Mhm.
sometimes, where you know
Mhm.
your child may feel more comfortable talking to a close family friend versus the mom or the dad. You know, that's just how it goes. That's life, you know. So I think it's great to have those relationships established even younger, so they know there's someone close that they can speak to as well, and they can trust in, that will give them some sound advice. So I think that's the great thing about having your friends involved. Now, we do have people who use their neighbors. I don't particularly use my neighbors. I don't
Okay.
trust neighbors like that. I don't know y'all,
See, I don't know
but
about
yeah, I don't know them. But I'm not gonna lie. I know people who are super close with their neighbors. Growing
Mhm.
up, I watched my neighbors' kids. So, you know, it really depends. It truly
Yeah.
depends. Like, that was my first babysitter. So, you know, sometimes you have that situation where you're blessed with some great neighbors and you really can, you know, lean on them, especially when you guys have kids going to school. So, like pickups, drop offs, that's like dope if you could actually, you know, rely on a neighbor to be of assistance to you. It literally is about, you know, your discernment and who you can trust and, you know,
Absolutely.
having that relationship. And the more the merrier when it comes to people that you love and trust, the more, because it truly takes a large it takes a lot of people, and like I said, you have to be very discerning when you're talking about people around your children. But if
Mhm.
you do have that that strong group of people that you can trust, it is a blessing to have that, because I'm not in a city where I have family, right? It's just me and my parents. My family is on the East Coast, so I didn't grow up around cousins, aunties, uncles. We didn't have that option to go over to someone's house, right? So my parents were more or less always having to be with us. So when you have that, it really is a blessing to have people that you can count on to, you know, kind of just remove, like lighten that load a little bit, because these kids are
Yeah.
taking.
Yeah, and when you think about friends and neighbors, again, and it's crazy because we live in a day where you can't trust some of your family around your children, if we just gonna be honest. And
Yeah,
so it's like having that discernment, really being involved in who your kids are around, getting to know these people is so crucial. So if you're sitting here watching and you're like, well, dang, like I don't really have a great support system, but you know, he plays or she plays with a lot of kids in the neighborhood. How can I make these connections with these families and maybe have that friend neighbor network? Like what can I do? So I would just suggest that, you know, a lot of times I feel like when stuff happens that's negative, that's bad, a lot of people will always be like, well, where was the parents at? How come the
mhm,
parents didn't know where the kids was at? How come the parents didn't know these people? And it's like, maybe that was the case. Maybe the parent didn't take their time to really get to know who their children are around. So I would just encourage you that if you have a neighbor that you know your child favors their child or whatever the case may be, make that connection. Like, you know, you're doing it for the benefit of the village at the end of the day, because maybe they have kids too. And a lot of times friends and neighbors, their kids, it's kind of like a rotation. Like you'll have their kid, they'll have your kid, you know what I'm saying? So it's like a
yeah,
system. But again, just make sure you're getting to know the people that are around your children. There's nothing wrong with that. Like if I want to come over to your house and I want to see what your house look like, and I want, not being nosy, but I'm just being real. Like I need to
period.
know the space that my child's in, and you could do the same for mine if we're really gonna have this connection, this village, because I don't play about mine. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know
Period.
what you do with yours, but I don't play about mine. So this is what I'm gonna do. And again, that's those boundaries that you set to ensure that whatever your village looks like, whoever it is, you are involved. You are on the up and up of who they keep around their home. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like those are the things you
yes.
pay attention to have that trust. And you're able to really disclose those things with each other. So
Yeah, and even in doing so, I think what you said, you know, there are some people that do not have that option of family, right? So you're like, well, how do I start to create a village of my own? And that could consist of, okay, so I know child likes this particular parent, this other child in class, and they like to hang out. So, how do we facilitate this situation where I can get to know the parent better? That could even be inviting the parent out, for coffee.
Mhm.
You guys say, let's all go somewhere together. So, when the kids are younger, you call them play dates, right? But,
Yeah.
I'm all good with, let's do, you don't have to be a little kid to have a play date where y'all go somewhere. If y'all gonna go to the movies, moms and the dads, we'll come together. We'll come and kick it and get to know each other as well. I think that is how you start to facilitate those relationships, and so that you do feel safer having your child with them. I know some people don't play the sleepover game, right?
Mhm. Right.
Some people are like, no, my kids don't sleep at anybody else's house. Now, their child can sleep over here, but my kids can't go over there. And that is okay. Don't feel guilty or feel bad about having your boundaries. If you don't feel
Mhm.
comfortable with it, by all means, don't do it. Don't do
Yeah.
it because you don't ever want to feel there any regrets about you lessening your boundaries. And it's not. I don't think there's a such thing as being overprotective. Now, there's extremism in everything, but when it comes to your children, it's a fine line between over and like and just enough. Like it's a real fine line because you really can never be too safe, right? We're talking about this. Like you have to just be so on top of everything. But I think when you make it your business as a parent, specifically the moms, that's who we're talking to get to know the other mothers, right? So that you can feel comfortable and then she could potentially become a resource to you with your child and you as well to her and her children, right? Because you
Mhm.
guys create and foster a relationship of your own. And I'm just that's what happened with me. My best friend's family literally became my second family here in Cleveland because my mother said, listen, I'm going to get to know this mom. And we realized we had same, similar values in the household. And this was a match made in heaven, right? So this is how I became, literally a part of their family. But it started with my mom saying, well, hold on, who is this lady? You love this little girl. Let me meet her mama. And that's how that goes.
Yeah.
So it's okay to like say, hey, let's get together. Let's get together for us,
Yeah.
get a bite to eat or something. Y'all don't have to be best friends, but y'all need to know each other. If y'all kids are gonna be over
Yeah,
each other's
absolutely.
shoulders all the time.
Absolutely. And something else I wanted to add to this is a little different, but this goes back to just your network in general. Because remember, your kid is essentially spending time with other people. They're watching your child, they're helping raise your child in a lot of cases. So it's like, show some thankfulness for that too. You know what I'm saying? Because some of our kids are a bit much. You might know you got you a little rough one that's bad that need to be told 20,000 times. You like, damn, I feel bad. I gotta let my grandmother watch this boy today. He is on 1,000. But at the end of the day, like if you're making dinner and you had your mom or your sister or your friend watch your child, give them a plate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like just do something nice to, give back to the ones who are helping give back to your village. You know what I mean? Like it goes a long way. It's very appreciative. Some people aren't paying their parents or their grandparents or their babysitter, a substantial amount of money to watch their children. But just in retrospect to that, just every once in a while, do something nice to let them know that you appreciate your village, because that is what kind of keeps, it just keeps it,
So true.
yeah, wholesome and
I
all those
agree,
things.
100% agree. And I think it's easy when it's a mom or a family member, it's easy to forget to do something like that,
Yeah,
especially when they are so freely and giving of their time for your child or your children. You might be like, wait a second, what have I done for them lately? Let me go over there with some flowers. In the
yeah, do
littlest things
something
would just
right.
make a difference. Like if I'm gonna get food for my kids, I'm like, what y'all want to eat over there?
Yep,
Everybody, I'm
absolutely.
gonna order food for everybody. I'm not, you know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things where I so agree with you on that. Those little things do make a difference.
yeah,
Okay, so let's get into online communities. Okay, so when local support isn't enough, online communities can fill that gap. And I can speak to that in the sense there are different Facebook groups that I am a part of that have been so helpful to me with the information shared on these different groups about different topics when it comes to parenting, whatever your child might be dealing with. So if you have, and it's so amazing how I'm talking about this, whatever you type in that search bar, you probably can find a group that is catering to that specific need. So
yeah,
whatever it might be, from your child's special needs to your own personal needs when it comes to parenting, to things for your child to do and you to do in your local neighborhood, these these groups, and I've even seen them like facilitating play dates, like on there, like on the in the groups, like, okay, well, my child, has this issue or that issue, or we're looking for friends, and they're like, you know what, we have the same thing. Let's get together. You'll be so surprised how in these groups you can find parents who are dealing with the same things that you're dealing with, or out of town. They're transients. They're coming. They're in the city. They're new. They're not. They're not. They don't know anything about the city. And you have somebody who is in the same position. Oh, we just moved here for work too. Let's all get
Right.
together and get together for a play date. Or oh wow, you are at the same daycare as we are. There's so many things you'll find out. So these
Yeah.
different online groups. Once again, key is practicing discernment. You know what I'm saying? But you can get a wealth of resources and knowledge, if nothing else, even if you don't ever speak to a person. A lot of times people are giving experiences that really can be priceless for you if you are on a certain or specific journey that you're trying to get information on.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say those groups are really invaluable in those realms for sure.
Yeah, I would agree. I personally don't utilize a lot of Facebook groups, but I know people who do, and it's always beneficial to them for that exact reason, which you said, just the things that they can relate on and the things that people can share in regards to what everybody's kind of dealing with. So it's always beneficial for sure. And then just in the same, when you think online, it's so broad. There's so much you can like that's at your disposal. So it's like, okay, if you're just looking for something to do with your child where other children are, of course, you have those resources, even if it's not a group, but like you can look up the different parks and stuff around you that have things going on, or camps or something that you can tie your child into that will still kind of give you that support, even if it's just in keeping them busy and tiring them out. You know what I mean? Like when we talk about the village and what that means for our children, it's not always necessarily meaning like a person's watching your child or a
Right.
person's giving you advice. Sometimes it's literally just being a support to everything that your child embodies. If it's playing, if it's learning, if it's exercising, whatever that is, whatever that looks like, just utilize the resources that are online. There's so many of them,
Yes, there
but
are.
to a point you made too, that discernment is so rare. I think that's just a key word when you think about the
Yeah.
village, because we feel like we know what's best for our children. And when you, I don't know about you, but I ain't gonna lie, it scares me sometimes to think about if somebody else is anywhere near the level of, just how I feel about mine. So it's like, you're already concerned about, okay, is this person gonna love on my child the way I do? Are they
Mhm.
gonna respect my child? Are they gonna do this, do this, do this, do this? You already have so many concerns and questions and stuff like that. So just take those extra steps to make sure that the people you're, engaging with, your surrounding your children with, the resources you're looking up really, really cater to your morals, your belief system, and
Yeah,
just the things that matter to you. Because if they don't do it. Don't
for
even go
sure.
that way, because
For
you're gonna set yourself up for an opportunity to be upset, regretful, whatever. Just take those extra steps to really get to know the people and the resources that you're utilizing, because we're talking about our children. And I know I can speak for a lot of us when I say we do not play about our children. So
Yeah. Yeah,
no
and I think
shortcuts.
and once again, we like for those who do not have that village, like I said, we are really wants you to know that we're giving you other options into trying
Yeah.
to find ways to build that safe, healthy group of people that you can trust, right? That help you through the process, because it is not an easy job parenting, especially if you are a single parent and you're trying to do this alone, right? That's even more stress on the parent who is trying to handle the responsibilities of raising a child, because it is not meant for one person. Okay. That
Yeah.
is why the village is so important. So when you are, thinking about, how can I start to create this safety net of people that I can rely upon and trust in, and also church, there's other things like you said, whatever, these are things that you have done and that different groups of people, you have to, like you said, bro, do these things based off what you feel in your spirit and your heart, right? That is something that you can trust. And once you get into the flow of really trusting your own discernment and really trusting in how your child, because I think it is a process when when you start to actually start feeling comfortable enough. I mean, I remember just sending my kids to daycare was a lot for me, like a lot. I mean, because it was just like I'm leaving my child in someone else's care. And
Hmm.
that is crazy, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't have a parent who can keep your child or a family member who can keep your child and you guys send to daycare, you feel my pain.
Yeah.
Okay. you're like, my God, I am really
Yeah.
away from my child, and this stranger is keeping my kids. Real talk.
Right.
But you have to, it's the same process. Just like when you find a daycare, or if there's something you don't like about that daycare, you get your child up out of there.
Okay.
Same thing when it comes to building your village, right? You might think they cool for a little bit, but some rub you the wrong way. Trust that. Mm-mm,
Yeah. Yeah.
mm-mm.
Because I
Bye.
was definitely gonna say, to stand your ground. Like if you don't like something or a person that you did trust in your village is kind of giving you vibes that they don't go along with what you believe, they letting your child do whatever, they're doing whatever around your child. No, I'm sorry, this is no longer working. Thank you for your time, but we're gonna take these talents somewhere else.
Period. And don't be afraid or ashamed to say nothing about it. If
Right,
they don't have nothing to that ain't how they feel about you and yours is none of your business. That's
right,
all you have to worry about is the child that you have, okay, that you are watching over, that you brought into this world. Okay. One of the
yeah,
because everybody didn't give birth to their children, but if you are that guardian, your responsibility is that child. Okay.
right,
So with that
absolutely.
being said, that's the only person that you owe anything to. You do not owe an explanation to folks when you are trying to separate from whatever they're doing that does not align with your principles or your
Right.
values or morals. All right.
Mhm.
So I just would like to say the village to me is invaluable. I am thankful for mine. So if my mama, anybody sees this, thank you. I know I don't say it enough.
Right.
Thank you.
Yes, for real. Thank you, thank you, thank you, because it's a blessing. And even if you don't have it, we just want to stress that there are so many ways to create your village. It's never too late to create your village. So take some of the advice that we've shared with you today or use them online resources to really kind of dive into
Yeah.
how that can happen for you and curate it because a village is so necessary. Don't let nobody tell you it's not. We cannot do it by ourselves. We shouldn't do it by ourselves. So definitely look into and also just love on your village. Okay.
Yes, yes, yes.
Um,
And
yeah.
remember, mothering
And this
together is
weekend, oh wait, go
here
ahead.
to support
No,
you.
no, what'd you say?
I said, remember, mothering together is here to support you. That's us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So shout out to all the moms and other moms to be. Don't forget to join us for our maternal outreach movement powered by Birthing Beautiful Communities. You can get this episode. This is now episode number 4. So you've missed 3 if you just tapping in. But you can get 1 through 4 at zhiphopcleveland.com as well as wzakcleveland.com/mom for both. And then be ready for the next episode. And then also too, feel free to I hope you can leave comments. I'm pretty sure you can leave comments. So if there's something you would like us to touch on, talk about, let us know so we can,
Yeah.
jump on it too.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you again next
Peace
time.
out.